What's happening, boys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be doing a preview for Rangers versus Panathinaikos in the Champions League qualifiers. So let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to start with the history of this fixture, and there's been twice that we have played Panathinaikos in the Champions League, and it was in 2003, granted, but I'm going to skip the stats on screen now. Okay, so on screen now is the results from the 2003 game. So in the first leg, Panathinaikos and Rangers drew 1-1, with Panathinaikos getting a red card, and in the second leg, Panathinaikos bet Rangers 3-1. Okay, so going by that logic, Panathinaikos are undefeated to Rangers, but that was over 22 years ago now, so we're wiping that slate clean, and we're going to just continue on with the modern history because that doesn't matter whatsoever. But yeah, let's get into this actual preview, and what we're going to talk about is Panathinaikos' main threat, and let's get into it. Panathinaikos' main threat comes from one man and one man only. It comes from their number 8, Adedin Ioni. He is a Moroccan, and he's 25-year-old, and he's a midfielder. He's absolutely brilliant. We'll put some clips up of him now and show where everything comes from, and then I'm going to explain why I've showed this just after the clips. Okay, so the ball is thrown in, and Ione completely spins his man and passes into his player, and he passes into the striker and he messes it up. And you're going to notice a theme here, and I'm going to show this in the second clip as well. Okay, so Ione here, he receives the ball and he hits it first time, and it's straight top bins. This is an unbelievable strike, and I'm starting to get worried here. And then in this third clip, he receives the ball and he takes it down, and he just brings it past the defender, straight by him, and he hits it. Although it ricochets off the defender, and he still scores. And then this is just a brilliant bit of skill, a back heel, and he completely takes his man out, passing it to his winger, and then the striker scores a header, which is great. And on to the fifth clip now. And now Ione plays this ball beautifully, and I think you're probably starting to see a theme here. Everything comes through Ione. Like, this pass is absolutely insane in poetry. Like, it's unbelievable. He just cuts the defence in two. And in this clip, once you think you've seen it all from him, he can do assists, he can do shots, and then he pulls this out of the bag. Just watch this. Top bins. Keeper doesn't even move. And then in this one, he just receives a ball. He ball rolls it back like he's in the park, and then plays it off to his man, and his man misses. Okay, and that's it for the Ione clips. And now I bet you're wondering, why the hell have you showed us that? Like, he is easily their best player. I'm going to tell you why I've showed you it. Because he doesn't play for them anymore. He doesn't play for them anymore. He is at Marseille now. He was on loan, and he's away back to Marseille. Their threat has just been neutralised. He's gone. Everything that he produced is no longer in that team. Their threat is dead. Their main threat has moved club. And that is a brilliant thing for us. All them shots, all them assists count for nil point. They are gone. What can I say? That is brilliant for us. But they do have a couple other threats, and we will get into that. But yes, their main one is now neutralised. Okay, so I did mention there are other threats in that Panathinaikos teams, and I believe one of their main ones would be their striker, Swindewski. He is a Polish international, and he's number 19. So the main threat with him is his heading ability. He's actually very good in the air, and he scores a couple decent headed goals. So I'm just going to pop a couple clips up here. Okay, so first we see this brilliant pass from Aduni, the back heel that we've seen previously, and it's crossed in, and Skersky gets his head on it. But does that happen without Aduni? This second clip is from Aduni again, and it's another good header, but does it happen? Now you can see why Aduni is the most important part of that team. Without Aduni, Skersky is not getting their headers. The deliveries are not coming in, and now you can see where all the pieces are coming together. He was the heart and soul of that team. Without him, they're probably really going to struggle, which I love. As a Rangers fan, this is brilliant. Their main part of their team is gone, but Skersky, he's very good. He can also score goals with his feet, but his main ability is his head, and I believe he's quite tall. So this has been eliminated by taking out Aduni, which I believe is also good. And the way Rangers can combat this pretty easily is just stick one of the tall boys on, one of our tall defenders, and just mark him out of the game. Just don't let the crosses come in. And yeah, that would just be pretty much how you take his aspect of his game out, and that's how we combat him. So, on to the next threat. So, the next threat I believe Panathinaikos do have is their left winger, Philip Georgic. And this one I don't believe can be combated as easily as just eliminating Aduni from the equation. This one is a little bit of a thing he touches kinda turns to gold, so let's take a look at a couple clips. Okay, so in this clip he receives the ball and he turns and it's just straight in the bottom corner. He gets a bit of luck, but it's what he needs. And this one's just an insane finish right in the top corner. Unbelievable. So how do we combat Philip George kick? I reckon it's pretty simple. We just mark him with either Tavernier or whoever's going to be on that right side, and we just close him down. Hopefully he doesn't get any space. If he doesn't get the space, he can't shoot. And I reckon if he gets too much space, that's where he does cause a threat. And he's able to just put either in the top corner or bottom corner. He's very far post minded. So I don't know if he's a one-footed player or if he's in that mindset where he just doesn't go for the close post. But yeah, if we don't give him space, I reckon we'll be alright. But yeah, the next threat I'm going to go with, I'm just going to give him an honourable mention, is Polistri. The Man United boy who is now at Panathinaikos. His career hasn't went too great, unfortunately. I thought it would go a lot better than what's happened to him, but I believe he is doing alright at Panathinaikos. I just wanted to put a mention out for him because I believe he is still a player, and I don't know if he's starting this game or not, but yeah, he is also a potential threat. Talked about Panathinaikos' strengths and their threats, so now let's talk about their weakness. And they have a big weakness, and that is called their backline. Their backline is not very good, I'm just going to say that, especially on the right hand side. They really struggle to defend this right hand side, so I believe this is where Rangers should attack, and I'm going to put some clips up now just to showcase how weak they are at backline of the right side. Okay, and just like that, the simple switch right to the right hand side, and then they're basically in, and at this point Panathinaikos don't know what to do. They're completely done. Okay, and then in this clip he just bombs it down the right hand side and he gets away from his man, and it's like he's helpless, and then he cuts back inside, plays it in his player. The shot is awful here, but he completely leaves them for dead. And then in this clip it's absolutely criminal. The right hand side is just like sleeping. It's a brilliant save from the keeper there. Then once again it's literally just a pass out wide and then down the right hand side, and Panathinaikos just don't know what to do. Like, they cut inside once again, plays it to his man, and that's a goal. That's all Rangers need to do. And then again, it's just a simple ball down the line. The Panathinaikos right back just completely fluffs his lines there and lets the striker in. He absolutely does nothing with it, unfortunately. And then in this one, the ball's laid down to him and he's passing it completely through the defence, and the right hand side is just left for dead. Fortunately, he does get a penalty out of this one. And then in this one, it's just a quick over the top ball and the defence is left out the equation, left for the attacker. Unfortunately, it doesn't do anything with it, but it's a good shot at least. And then in this one, he just passes the ball out wide, and it's like the defence malfunctions the second it goes to the right hand side, and the ball goes in, and he does get tackled, but then the player recovers really nicely and gets the goal out of it. Like, at this point, it genuinely could be a cheat code coming down this right hand side. Like, this player just completely cuts in and he gets a shot off. Like, they seem to do very well on the left hand side, but the second it goes to the right, it's like you're almost guaranteed a shot on target. Like this, it comes in here again, and the keeper does really well to save this. Like, once again, the ball comes down this right hand side and the defence just crumbles, leaves so many gaps. So, Rangers need exploiting that left hand side. I want to make this clear. In the clips I was saying right hand side, that is a complete mistake. Wipe that out your mind. It is the left hand side Rangers need to be exploiting. Everything comes down the left hand side that is positive for any other team against Panathinaikos. It doesn't matter where it comes from. If it comes down the left, they're almost guaranteed a chance. So Rangers really want to be exploiting that, and I believe we can exploit that because all we need is a pacey player on the wing and we're through. And even if you want to go for more of the bully option, someone strong on that wing just to bully players off and then get a shot in, that would also be perfect. So that's how I reckon we exploit Panathinaikos. That's the main way I think we do it. The second way is their defence in general. Like I said, they leave gaps, and this is very easy exploit by the looks of it. They're not very good from corners either. I've watched a lot of footage. I watched. This is why this video is taking quite a while to come out. I watched a lot of footage of Panathinaikos, and a lot of their stuff is defensive that we need to exploit. And it's just either the left hand side, corners, or just in general, their defence is really weak. But yeah, that is how we exploit Panathinaikos. I'll talk about the Panathinaikos side of things, I'll talk about the Rangers side of things. And this is a weird one, because I'm not too sure, because this team has just been built. We've only had 2 games, and we drew them both. One was against Club Brugge and one was against Barnsley. Realistically, we should be beating Barnsley, but Club Brugge I can understand, the Belgium Giants, and it is what it is. It was a 2-2 draw, and we've done well to come back from it, as I have went over in a previous Rangers video. But yeah, this is a young squad. It's very young. Under Russell Martin, we bring in a lot of talent, but none of them have ever played at the highest level on the Champions League. So this is where it worries me. So do we just go back to type here, and do we use our squad that we used last year in the Europa League? Or do we try something here and just try and get the best out of our new players? But that being said, I have made a predicted lineup on my side. This is what I would build, not what I think Rangers are going to put out. But yeah, I'm going to put that on screen now. Okay, so if I'm with a 4-2-3-1 here, and it's going to start with Jack Butland in goals. I believe he's the option here because he has more European experience than Liam Kelly. Liam Kelly has only played 2 games in the Conference League, whereas Jack Butland has played a lot of games for Rangers in the Europa League. And also, I believe, the Champions League qualifiers. And then in right back, we've got James Tavernier. I believe this one totally speaks for itself. He is probably one of the most experienced Rangers players that we have that has been in Europe. He's played finals, he's played the big matches, he was part of that 21-22 squad. And then in right centre-back, I went with John Souttar. I believe he's probably the most experienced centre-back we have at Rangers at the moment. And yeah, I think we need that bit of experience in this game for a bit of savvy. And then in left centre-back, I went with a little bit more of an unusual option in Emmanuel Fernandez. I've only chosen him because he is very tall, and I believe he'd be the man to combat that threat of Sherpsky, of Panathinaikos' striker, where I believe he can win the headers and cut out the crosses, so he would eliminate the threat of Sherpsky. Then I went with Jifty on left back, and I believe this is because he's quite feisty, and he gets in and about it, and he also progresses up the pitch, which I like. With Ridvan Yilmaz going out the door by the looks of it, I've went with Jifty. And then right centre mid, I've went with Diamandi. He's very good. He loves winning the ball. He can win fouls as well, which is always good. And he's good at progressing the ball, and he's solid in that midfield. And then left centre mid, I went with Raskan. I believe he can exploit that left hand side very easily, progress the ball up the pitch, dribble, and then get the ball out to our wingers, who will also progress up the pitch, and that will make it easy. He's also got a lot of defensive attributes that I really like about him. He comes back and he works hard. And then right mid, I've went with Daji Gasaman. He's a new option, and I really want to see him play. And I believe his dribbling and his little bit of flair could be really good on that right hand side. And then this one was a mix up in the middle. I went for Theo Asgard. I believe he is injured for this though, so that might have to change. But if he is there, I want him in that centre mid role, more attacking, which would be brilliant. And then left wing was a big mix up. It was between Cortez and Matondo. Matondo's still injured, and I believe he could offer that pace down the wing. But I'm going to go with Cortez here. Young player, he's got a bit of skill about him. Let's see what he can do. And then up front, I'll put Igaman, because if he's leaving, I want a parting gift. Would be my starting lineup for this game against Panathinaikos. I believe the left-hand side is what we need to exploit, and realistically, you could chop and change. You could put Daji Gasaman on the left, and I believe he would offer a lot on that left as well, with his dribbling ability and just being able to outrun players, which I think could be good. You could put Igaman on there instead up front and put Dessers up front. There's a lot of options on that left-hand side where I believe you could chop and change, and even you could put Diamandi into the midfield instead of Asgard. Because he may be injured, like I've said. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but fingers crossed he is alright for this qualifier. We will be potentially needing him. But yeah, that is what I think the starting lineup could be, on my opinion. But yeah, let's get into the next aspect of this game. The next aspect of this game is a must-win game, and I'm going to tell you why. Rangers are currently in a situation where if we do get put out here, we drop into the Europa League, and the Europa League's alright. European qualifiers for the Europa League, they're normally alright, and we normally can sail through them. But this time, we've been given the hard ball, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, and this source comes from Football Rankings. It says huge direct duel in Europa League third round qualifiers. Panathinaikos versus Rangers and Shakhtar Donetsk versus Besiktas. Two of these four clubs will be certainly moving down to the Conference League qualifiers, and I'm going to tell you why this is. Because if Rangers lose to Panathinaikos, we either have Shakhtar Donetsk or Besiktas. Now that is a worrying thought. So now you can see why this becomes such a big match. Because if Rangers lose and we drop into Europa League, not only do we either have Shakhtar Donetsk or Besiktas, which I'm more worried about Besiktas, because all of a sudden Turkey have just found a well of wealth just under them. I don't know what's happening in Turkey right now. They just decided to turn into Saudi 2.0 and just buy every big player. The reason I'm more afraid of Besiktas though is because they've just bought Tammy Abraham and Kuka, or Koku, from Benfica. He's a brilliant player who's just returned to Turkey. And this is quite a worrying one, because if Rangers lose, then do we drop into the Conference League? If we were to drop in the Conference League, is it such a bad thing? We maybe even get our hands on silverware. I believe we're alright enough to get in through that competition. But we want Champions League because that's where the money's at. And that's what will get the fans in and will draw more attention. But if we beat Panathinaikos, we don't worry about the situation whatsoever, and we move on to our next qualifier, which could be, I don't know who's up next, but whoever it is, hopefully don't pose as much as threat as Besiktas or Shakhtar Donetsk. Shakhtar Donetsk are also a very good team, but I don't believe they pose as much threat as a Besiktas, for example. But yeah, that is why this becomes such a big game. And that is it. That is it for the preview to Rangers versus Panathinaikos. And hopefully this game is a good one, and hopefully we get the result and move on to the next stage of qualifying, which would be brilliant for the club, for the money, and for the players. They get that European experience, and that's what we need, and it builds us up for the season, which we hopefully will have a good one. But yeah, that is it. Thank you for watching, as always. Please like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Helps with engagement and the growth, which I've seen once again on my second last video. My last video didn't do the greatest, but it was a completely different topic, and I can totally understand if that's not your thing. I totally understand it. But yeah, the last video we done on Rangers done very well, so we'd like to see that continue, which would be brilliant. But yeah, that's it. I've been DGD. You guys have been great as always, and yeah, that's me. Root to it in a bit.